All right, so today we're really diving into the deep end AI, talking about autonomous AI systems that can learn and adapt. We're looking at a blog post from a developer who's building something called Core ASI, and he describes it as like building a nervous system that AI can operate on.
Yeah, it's a really interesting analogy because one of the biggest challenges right now is getting all these different AI models to work together. And this core ASI is trying to tackle that. Like our own nervous system coordinates everything we do. This acts as this central hub.
So instead of having all these individual programs, it's more like assembling a team of AI specialists all working on the same project.
Exactly. And to do that, it needs to give all of these AI models a way to communicate a common language. And he calls that the Intermodal Communication Protocol, or ICP.
Okay, and to actually interact with like the digital world he's created, so I like the hands and eyes of the AI system.
Right. So we're talking not just about doing a task in isolation, but something that can browse the web, fill out forms, even apply for jobs online.
It's like straight out of science fiction.
It really blurs that line, doesn't it?
It really does, but it's not just about the doing, it's about the brain too.
Yeah.
Core ASI, how is that different from just like an operating system?
Well, you can think of it kind of like the Windows or the iOS for AI models, giving them that base framework to function. But what's really different here is that it's not just about making AI more efficient, it's about making it so AI can learn and evolve on its own.
So we're not just talking about pre-programmed responses anymore. We're
Yep.
talking about AI that can adapt and learn, maybe even think for itself.
Exactly. It uses things like feedback loops and self-optimization to constantly be analyzing how it's doing and finding ways to improve. And that's where SoCI comes back in.
So it's not a passive player, it's an active participant in this learning process.
Right. You can think of it as like the bridge between that more abstract intelligence of core ASI and being able to take real actions in the digital world. And it's a two-way street. It's not just SoCI carrying out commands, it's also feeding information back to core ASI to analyze and learn.
This is all starting to sound really ambitious, like a roadmap to a future. We can only imagine, how does he actually plan on making all this happen? So where does this roadmap to the future of AI begin? What are those first steps?
Well, in the blog post, he lays it out. He's got short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. And in the short term, it's really about getting SoCI up and running in the digital world. It's like teaching it to see the world like we do, but instead of trees and buildings, it's windows and toolbars.
So like a digital toddler learning to use a computer for the first time.
Exactly. And he wants it to be able to do those basic things reliably, like opening applications, typing, interacting with things on the screen.
So once it's out of digital toddlerhood,
Yeah.
what's next on the curriculum?
That's where things get really interesting. Once he's confident in those basics, he wants to move to more complex, multi-step tasks. Like, imagine SoCI being able to post messages online, fill out forms, even apply for jobs on LinkedIn.
Hold on, AI applying for jobs, that's more than just like automating a task. That's like a whole other level of human interaction. What are the implications of it?
It's a great question, and it's something that sparks a lot of debate. I think for now, he sees it as like a benchmark. If it can understand a job application, that means it can do a lot of things in the real world. But yeah, it brings up all these questions about the future of work and the role of AI and, all the ethical stuff too.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there. So getting SoSky working, mastering complex tasks, those are the short-term goals. What about midterm? Where do we go from there?
Midterm is about taking that autonomy even further. It's about creating that feedback loop between core ASI and SoCI so they can learn and get better over time, and they can do it all on their own without us humans having to step in.
So we're talking about a self-learning AI that basically programs itself and gets better over time. That's both amazing and a little creepy.
It is a pretty big leap forward, right? It's not just telling the AI what to do. It's about it learning from its experiences and changing and adapting and optimizing.
Which kind of makes you wonder, where does that evolution go? Where are the long-term goals for this whole project?
Well, the long-term goals, that's where his vision gets really big. He talks about two main things. First, he wants core ASI to be open source. He wants to release the code to the public, let everyone contribute to it.
That seems kind of counterintuitive. Wouldn't you want to keep this amazing technology a secret? Build a whole company around it?
It does go against the grain, but I think it speaks to this idea that AI could be this huge benefit for everybody, and he wants to make it a global project.
Yeah, so instead of it being controlled by one person or one company, it's about sharing that knowledge and hopefully steering it in a more ethical direction. But that was the first goal. What about the second one?
This is the big one. He wants to make core ASI the operating system for all AI.
A universal operating system for AI. That's a pretty big idea. What would that even look like?
Well, imagine instead of having all these different AI systems that are all kind of doing their own thing, you have this unified platform where they can all communicate and work together and even learn from each other.
So it's less like a bunch of individual AIs and more like this cohesive AI ecosystem.
Exactly. And I think it speaks to this developer's ambition to not just improve AI, but to like fundamentally change how we think about it. He wants core ASI to be the foundation that all future AI is built on.
It's exciting and a little bit scary to think about what that future would look like, all that interconnected AI.
Yeah, it really makes you think about those bigger questions. What are we creating and what role do we want technology to play?
So for those of us who aren't, AI developers, what's the key takeaway here?
I think the biggest thing is this shift in how we see AI. It's not just about building smarter machines. It's about building machines that can learn and adapt and maybe even surpass us in ways we can't even imagine right now.
Right. It's like AI isn't just this tool anymore. It's almost like a partner in a way.
Yeah, and even though this one developer's vision is very ambitious, I think it reflects what a lot of people in AI are working towards, this idea of autonomy in AI that can learn and think for itself.
It feels like we're entering a whole new world of AI, where the lines between science fiction and reality are getting really blurry. And as we explore this world, we have to keep asking those big questions about what it means for all of us. It's been a fascinating deep dive into the world of AI. A big thanks to our expert for breaking it all down for us. And for everyone listening, if you want to learn more about this, you can check out AI Intersection. That's where we found this blog post and where a lot of other developers are sharing their work as well. Until next time, keep asking those big questions and we'll keep diving deep to find the answers.